3 Hashino Persona games later, including the expanded re-releases, and we now have 75 social links total, meaning there are a whopping 750 individual rank-up scenes in the entire series. Now, out of all of these rank-ups, there's probably at least a handful that you remember, for better or for worse. Now, based on the title of this video, you know we'll be discussing the latter. And so, out of all these worst rank-ups, like perhaps Yukari's rank 5, given how many players chose to hug her despite what just occurred in that situation, I'll only be focusing on one, and no, not that one, in particular. And that's the infamous rank 8 of Akechi's automatic confidant in Vanilla Persona 5. So for those of you who either didn't play Vanilla or just need a refresher, the rank 8 was the one that happened at the end of Saya's Palace. Those of you who have watched my Akechi documentary know I hold a pretty scathing opinion of his entire Vanilla confidant. Though judging by the internet court of opinion, I'm clearly not the only one who thought the rank 8 was especially egregious. But to understand exactly why this rank up was perceived so negatively, let's break down what exactly happened first. This is the part where the Phantom Thieves successfully outplay Akechi with their own 4D chess strats. Since the interrogation room is technically part of Saya's palace, they're able to lure Akechi back into the metaverse prior to him entering the room. And since he already has a preconceived idea of what will take place here, his cognition fills in everything for him, the Joker headshot and all. But thanks to the PT's plans ahead of time, it turns out Akechi had been interacting with a cognitive, and therefore not real Joker, throughout this scene. So with that said, how does a rank up even make sense here? The game has always been told from Joker's perspective, right? Especially all the confidants, since he's the wild card of the PT. So all the social links can't progress without his input, right? Since they're all his. Or actually, are they? So NGL, this video's topic is mostly just an excuse for me to finally talk about this comment from user AquaJet that's just kinda low-key lived rent-free in my head for the past 2 years. Why? Because I truly appreciate this fascinating alternative perspective on the notorious rank 8. One that I never considered before, and that's, what if this rank up actually was Akechi's? In fact, what if this entire confidant was Akechi's all along? Mona says it's weird that the bond deepened with Akechi, considering that he was talking to the cognitive version of Joker, meaning the real one wasn't even present for any of this scene. So how could the confidant possibly rank up when Joker's point of view is missing? Well, Akechi himself definitely thought he was talking to the real Joker, suggesting that Akechi is the one initiating the confidant all along, since he came away from this whole thing thinking it was reality. It didn't even dawn on him that he messed up until we're far into Shido's palace. And on another note, we know Akechi could create social links himself if he actually wanted to, since Yaudabaoth confirmed that Akechi was his other chosen wildcard. But since Akechi is meant to be a foil to Joker, he's supposed to be an example of the fool who squandered his potential. The strength of Joker's personas and the sheer diversity of them come from nurturing the arcana and advancing his confidants, right? So the fact that Akechi never invested in relationships means he only has access to the 2 personas we see in the game, Loki and Robin Hood, one of which I still like to think came out of Akechi's bond with Joker. So I think the headcanon of Akechi initiating the Vanilla P5 confidant just further fleshes out the wildcard concept, with some juicy symbolic implications that weren't explored in the previous Hashino games. Though I can understand why you might think I'm on pure copium here, since I generally agree with AquaJet that this is a neat concept, if true. Unfortunately at the expense of the confidant being good. Though I guess by nature of going with this headcanon, technically the point of the confidant was that it wasn't supposed to be good, right? Yeah, just don't mind me while I inhale some more copium. Though actually, no, wait, don't go. So, if the automatic confidant was Akechi's all along, it also perfectly explains why Joker seems so half-hearted about the entire relationship in OG P5. In hindsight, it helps provide some additional context to the original rank 10 in Japanese translation, since it's the only one in the game where Joker's thought bubble about it says, "I sense a certain bond with Akechi," instead of, "I sense a solid bond with," insert whoever's confidant name you want. In other words, this just further affirms Joker's meh feelings towards the whole relationship. Meanwhile, back in my Akechi video, I went over how one of the major ludonarrative successes in Royal was that the player had to make the choice to hang out with Akechi to see his rank ups, just like any other confidant. This game mechanic drove home the idea that Joker is actually interested in Akechi and wants to hang out with him of his own volition, instead of in Vanilla P5 where Akechi's scenes seem kinda stalkerish, not gonna lie, since there's like no reciprocation on Joker's end. To contrast this with another automatic confidant, let's take Teddy's in Persona 4. It's established via P4's countless slice-of-life scenes with the entire investigation team that Teddy, in P4's lore, is considered a friend to you, haha, and a valuable member of the group as a whole. On the other hand, it's hard to argue that Joker sees Akechi as anything more than just an acquaintance in Vanilla P5 based on what we are shown. There's no hanging out with Akechi as a group, which isn't technically necessary, but more importantly, there's no meaningful one-on-one hangouts of just Joker and Akechi either. Every rank in original Persona 5 is mostly just furthering the plot, so there's no feeling of, hey, I'm just chillin' with someone I click with vibes. You know, just something friends, or more than friends, do. But with all that said, big thanks again to Aquajet, and I want to ask you guys now, do you think I made a solid case for this headcanon/theory? And in general, what do you think is the single worst rank-up scene in all the Persona games? Also, please like this video if you liked it, it seriously helps, and subscribe for a ton more Persona, especially in Japanese context stuff I've got cooking. Check out all my other socials and support the channel when buying the finest organic and fair trade tea with my link down in the description. And finally, I want to give a huge thanks to all my patrons for all their support, especially Big Clingy, Sam Bezjak, Francesco Santoyo Rego, M. Meownalin, Platinum Rose, Malcolm Lowry, Unholy Biscuit, Leviathan8685, Eden Korsef, Scarmillion, Kavanik, Brent, and Peter Shepard.